What is going on, guys and girls? My name is James and welcome back today to Roblox. How are we doing, everyone? Welcome back, welcome back. Today, of course, it is time to jump back into Bee Swarm Simulator, and today's video is going to be a little bit different. So yeah, it's going to be slightly more serious. It's going to be a little bit more wordy, because last night on the Bee Swarm Simulator Discord, Onett was typing and he did a bunch of messages about how he's feeling currently and all these various things. It was a very sort of dramatic and quite an emotional evening for him, I think. And I think it's important to talk about. So I'm going to do my best to kind of summarize it for you guys, because it's important not just for the future of the Beesmas update, which we're all super excited about, but also just for the future of the game in general. So I'm going to do my best. Stick with me. And yeah, should we go and claim the hive? I feel like we should. So 3, 2, 1, claim the hive! Yeah, welcome back, everybody. Hopefully you guys and girls are doing amazing. Yeah, not our usual kind of Bee Swarm episode here today, so it's going to be slightly different, but I do think it's something that's important to talk about. We tend to like touch on these themes every single update, especially over the past few years, with Onett himself, with the workload and the stress that he manages in order to actually produce and keep producing for the game. And I think, unfortunately, last night it really got to a very, very much a tipping point for him. But I think ultimately, weirdly, if you stick with me through this entire episode, it was probably for the best. And yeah, I'll explain more in just a sec. Yeah, it feels like a bit of a weird one to do a like goal in, to be honest with you. But yeah, we'll skip the old like goal in this episode. All I will say is that if you would like to leave a like, please leave a like. It's just a bit of personal motivation for me. So yeah, whatever like goal we get, and we'll continue on then from next episode. But thank you so much. Do not fear. Beesmas is not cancelled or anything, by the way. It is a bit of a dramatic video, but don't worry, Beesmas is still coming. It might be a bit delayed. So, where do we begin? Yeah, you're gonna have to stick with me here. I know sometimes I tend to go off on tangents and I tend to talk a lot. It's gonna be a very, very wordy one for me, but I'm gonna do my best. Yeah, basically late last night for me, it was like 11 o'clock or whatever. I was just checking through my Discord. I just jumped on the Bee Swarm Discord just to take a little look. And I was met there with this like giant wall of messages from Onett, and I read through them, and to be honest with you, like, it was from reading through them, it was quite clear that at that specific moment in time, Onett was feeling very, very physically exhausted from not sleeping, mentally exhausted from staring at code for weeks. He was obviously very stressed out, very emotional, even over emotional, and he was basically just sort of lashing out a little bit at like some people, and he just really wasn't being himself. So like, I'm not going to bother with all of those messages because I really genuinely don't believe that that's Onett at all. I just think it's a very natural thing for a human being sometimes. If you're experiencing all of those emotions all at once, sometimes you can not quite be yourself, sometimes you can lash out, and I really don't think he actually meant any of those things, particularly that he said. I think there's a few truths in there, but I think, you know, it's a really important moment, weirdly, for Bee Swarm, for Onett to say all of the things which I'm going to mention in this video. So I've got this like giant bit of text which Onett wrote 7 hours later, which I read this morning, which is a lovely and a lot more honest and truthful way that he's been feeling. And I know what you're thinking. Like, before we even get into all of this, you're thinking, James, is it that deep, mate? It's a sort of a video game on a video game about square bees. And yeah, like it is. I get it. But like for various people, especially for the creator of Bee Swarm, you know, for people like myself who've been playing it for over the years, Bee Swarm has this incredibly loyal fan base. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but people do really, really care about the game. You know, people just love it. It's a nice game. It's a chill game. It's a fun game. And that's why it's been so popular for so many years. And there's no one that cares about it more than Onett himself. So yeah, it wasn't a very good evening and morning for Onett. I think he really like got to a pressure boiling point and it just went boom. So yeah, maybe the lid was lifted on the the stress. Everything came out all at once. And yeah, it was quite sad to see, actually. I think he was really struggling at that point. So there was a few other things that were said like a couple of hours later, which I think we'll just take a look at quickly here before we get into the big main message. But essentially, like, before we get into the messages, there is going to be a delay here for Beesmas. So we don't exactly know when that's going to be coming out, but it will all be explained in a second. So Onett here says that I will admit this update in particular, I didn't expect the problems I'd be having. Trying to lock things down, I should have expected it to take more time, I should have started earlier, and most of all, just straight up shouldn't ever adhere to a release release date. I tried not to talk about it this year's Beesmas, but yeah, everyone still expects it on the date, so it is still there. I messed up. So I think that's one of the things which is always the really big time constraint. Beesmas is inherently like a very festive update, isn't it? Because you have the Christmas trees and you have, you know, all of the wintry stuff. So you really do have a bit of a deadline. And funnily enough, in yesterday's video, I actually mentioned, I was like, oh, well, now Christmas Day is gone. Maybe that'll be a relaxing thing for Onett. Turns out, timing-wise, the complete opposite, unfortunately. So I think he's just felt a lot of pressure trying to adhere to that deadline. And we've played devil's advocate on this before, and we always say, well, you know, why couldn't you like work earlier? Or, you know, do the updates have to be so big? And these are all the questions that the community asks. But it's just not the way he does things. You know what I mean? And I think that was one of the things that he said in his big long message. He was like, if you don't like the way that I do things, then just go. But at the same time, you know, the people who are here playing are, you know, the loyal members of the fan base and stuff. So it's one of the things he really didn't mean. But I think more what he was trying to say was, you know, he does his things a certain way because that's all he really knows. And we'll go on to talk about it more. But, you know, it's Onett. Onett is Beeswarm. It's literally just the one guy. So I think we just need to give him as much time as he needs. Let's rather have a good update than a rushed update or a stressed update, because if Onett's happy, Beeswarm is happy, and all the players are happy, right? He then goes on to say, whatever the main thing is, I won't aim for Xmas updates going forward. I'm going to wrap this up, and then for any future updates, won't try to give any warning. They'll just arrive, and when they do, so people won't be waiting. So I don't know what that means for, like, this is one of the things he said, and everyone's like, Beesmas is cancelled! You know what I mean? It's like, I don't think that's necessarily a case. I just think it would be a shame to lose Beesmas, of course, but I don't see why there would always have to be, like, an update just at December, and then just nothing for the rest of the year. So even if we do still get one update a year, like maybe Beesmas will come out in November or, you know, something like that. So I think more what he's saying is just like Christmas Day, like all of the late Christmas Day type thing, that has to stop. And I totally agree, because it's completely the wrong time of the year really just to be working really, really hard. So I think ultimately that's a really good thing for the game moving forward. I think we should stop the Christmas Day Beesmas stuff. Maybe just have it like sometime in December, maybe early December, maybe work on it earlier if possible. But yeah, the sort of getting late in December, Christmas Day, everyone shouting at you is just really not working. And it hasn't worked since day one, in my opinion. Anyway, he says here that I'm lashing out because I'm hitting a wall. I'm frustrated with people and myself. I need to take a breather to finish, and I know that I would get a lot of hate for doing that. So he's saying basically he needs some time away just to relax, just to take a couple of days off. But of course, when you've got the time pressure of Beesmas, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? You can't really run away from that. So like if you were to say like on Christmas Eve, I'm going to take a week away, then probably a lot of people would shout at him. Which is sad as well, but it sort of is what it is. We're past all of that now. It's nearly New Year's. So if we get Beesmas sometime in January, then we get it sometime in January. As I've said, rather a good update than a rushed update or a stressed one. I think this was really nice as well. So I was asleep at this point because obviously time zones and stuff, but from what it seems like Onett was just like talking. He was just like, you know what, I'm not doing any more work today. I'm just going to go and like sit and chat with people in the Discord. And I think it seemed to really help kind of, you know, calm him down and stuff, because he says here just a couple of messages. He says, everyone is ridiculously sweet. When I'm exhausted, the hate and complaints seem huge, but in reality, it's tiny compared to support. And this is, funnily enough, something that we mentioned a couple of episodes ago as well. It's in content and content creation and stuff, for YouTubers and social media people. You have so many really, really nice messages, and you read through them and they're lovely. But then if like there's one person that's kicking off, sometimes that can stand out. And it's like way louder than everyone cheering. It's just like the one guy booing, right? So like over the years, myself personally, I've developed a very, very thick skin when it comes to all of that. You know, I've been doing this for 11 years now, and I'm really, really lucky actually, that my comment section is just incredible. I'm not just saying it, like, I get so many lovely people and just so many engaging people. And I would like to think it's kind of what you reap, you sow. You know, you try and be positive, you try and do good things, and then you sort of attract those kind of people. But that's not the same for everyone, and especially with a game as popular as Beeswarm, you will get people in there just trying to cause trouble, I guess. And sometimes those shout way louder than, you know, all of the people on your side. So I think that really got to him. He also says here, for someone to get worked up like I am, I hope it's obvious that I'm passionate about this. I'm really excited about this update, I still am, and only in the last few days I felt like problems kept showing up and it spiraled out of control. But going into it, I was so excited about the stickers and trading, believing they'll add a charming new element that's accessible at most stages of the game, and it is just very difficult than other things I've worked on previously. And previously, it's a controversial feature, and obviously it's a controversial feature because it's taking me a considerable amount of time for something that looks so small and unnecessary. I honestly didn't realize how long it would take. So he's basically saying, he thought it was going to be an easy and straightforward feature. Turns out quite the opposite. And it's a really unique thing. I've never seen it in any other Roblox game. So yeah, obviously I think it all just got too much for him, which is understandable. And then he says, once again, thanks to everyone. I may be selfish, but I love you all, and that's why I want whatever I add to the game to live up to your expectations. Thank you, everyone. I'm feeling a lot better. Sorry to scare people. So these are just a few messages here. So obviously, I think he had a lot of time to reflect. Sometimes you just need to vent, and I think maybe that was healthy for him at that moment, and I think it is healthy for Beeswarm in general moving forward, because I think we need to change. Onett needs to change the way the updates happen. I think he really needs to change that and work on that, because I just don't think it's particularly sustainable. Like, I've been saying it personally for a long time, but who am I to tell Onett how to make his game? I'm not a developer, like, I ain't got a clue. But yeah, I'm also a very unorganized person myself, so, you say things, but it's difficult in practice other than just saying stuff, I guess. Now, if you bear with me, I'm going to read this big long one out. This is going to take some time, but this is the final statement that happened like 7 hours after, and I think this is a really important one to read. So if you take anything from this episode, and you're still with me, because I know it's a long one, this is the important bit. So yeah, bear with. Oh geez, get me reading glasses on. Okay, what I said up there was not fair. So this is referring to the message we didn't talk about, where he's basically lashing out at people. I allowed a few particular messages from a small set of people to push me over the edge. I haven't slept much in the past few days. I am feeling overwhelmed, and I'm doing stupid things, both with mistakes on the update and in what I'm saying. That doesn't make it right at all. I do try to give my all when I work on an update, but I don't nearly start early enough. I don't take on the help I need, and my method isn't sustainable. I didn't expect to and shouldn't have missed Xmas. I feel defeated by it. Okay, I'm not going to backpedal on and say that what I said isn't how I feel, at least in part, but the mean-spirited way it was presented is completely unfair, and many of the comments are just not true. When I'm at this low, I feel like the only way to get the negativity to stop is to match their energy, lash out, claim that everything they say is right, and own it myself. I feel huge pressure regarding how whatever I put out is received. I'm terrified of something coming out in a state that doesn't get the point across and letting people down or tarnishing the game. I'm irrationally worried that I'll lose my way if I take on help or change my routine. I let negative comments beat me down, get fed up with hearing how I should be doing things differently and how I don't do enough because I know how much care and effort I've put into this game. I like what I've created, it's an enormous part of my identity and gives me a sense of self-worth, but that doesn't make it right to shut out valid criticism or to acknowledge where I make mistakes. I have trouble expressing what that is what it is that the game means to me as a deeply personal project. I want it to thrive. I want it to remain unique. I want it to have the complexity and meaningful goals. I want it to have the dedicated fan base that it pleases and brings joy and gives purpose, even if it's just in a game. I want it to be its own little world that people care about. I can't do that without the players. The game is nothing without you all, and my message up there was completely ignores that. That was wrong and I apologize. And I claim that your opinions and desires for the game mean nothing, and to belittle the money and freedom this player base has given me is completely and obliviously unfair. Okay, nearly there. I hope at least this opens people's eyes to where I stand. I'm not a perfect person at all, and I can't promise things will change. I've done that in the past and just ended up a liar. But I truly want to do what is right for the game, whatever that means. I'm trying to fix up old systems, secure it, and give it a foundation to continue to last. I won't make promises because I don't want to let people down anymore. And while I do need to work more often, there are other obstacles that will make continuing to make updates on the game's standards challenging. I will try, but I don't know what the future of the game looks like exactly, and I don't want people to invest more into it without putting that out there. I'm going to step away for at least a day and try and recollect myself. I need real sleep and to detach myself from the situation. I'm not making progress in this state. I'm actually causing more problems. I'm still confident in this new feature, new features and the update as a whole. The hardest parts are complete, but it's not fully ready, and I'm not capable of finishing it at the moment. So that is basically where things ended up. He sort of went full circle, really, and he said a lot of apologizing, which I think was important. You know, he said a few things there which I genuinely don't think he meant. He was just lashing out. But it's a lot of weight on one person's shoulders, and it's funny because we could talk about this for a long time. We've talked about it previously, but I think Onett does need some kind of help when it comes to even just basic modeling and such. But I think a few years ago he tried to hire someone, but he basically is saying in here that because Beesmas is very much just him, his vision, his ideas, his goals, like he's very, very scared of probably just losing the control over his creation and having someone else coming in. Maybe they'll improve the game, but maybe they won't improve the game. And it's all just ifs, buts, maybes, and whens, because he's never really tried to change it, really. But some people are like that. Some people work best by themselves. You know, this is very much his game, which he shares with people, I think. But yeah, it really is one of them. So we'll see what happens over the next little bit of time. But I think for the Beesmas update, there's no point just checking it every single hour, seeing if it's updated. It's going to be a good few days. I expect personally that anything to do with the stickers is probably going to be sometime in January, and then followed maybe by a couple of weeks later or a week or two later, the Beesmas update. So at this point, who cares when the update comes out? Let's just make it at least happen at some point. I think everyone's excited about it. Of course, whatever happens with the game and, you know, updates, and I'll keep you guys updated. I know this is a very serious one, and it seems a bit dramatic, but I think it's important to talk about. I think it's important to share. And yeah, we just need to, I think everyone just sort of in general, we need to chill, like you know, just chill, relax, play some other games, play some Beesmas, get ready for the update. Whenever it happens, and I will let you guys know if new stuff comes. And yeah, when we play, it will be a fun time. So yeah, I think that's what we can promise. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed, maybe just the information, very heavy video compared to usual. I hope I did in an okay way. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, thanks, and see you.